Do you yearn for travel that involves outdoor adventure and learning? I do. I also have a passion for all things farming and agriculture. I've traveled to exotic jungles to learn about growing chocolate. I even once owned my own organic vegetable and sunflower farm. And now I'm planning my journey back to agriculture. Agritourism, defined as travel that involves some type of agricultural experience. Agritourism is all about entertaining, but the marketing strategist in me knows that at its core, agritourism is really about educating, and education affects change. My future farm needs to deliver a profound experience to all of its visitors. It needs to educate people about food, health, and climate. Join me to learn from experienced agritourism farmers and entrepreneurs and help me build my future farm strategy. And who knows, maybe one day soon you'll find yourself in a tropical jungle cutting open cacao pods with a machete, or savoring an outdoor plant-to-plate community dinner with 100 guests at a farm in Illinois. So let's tap into the agritourist in you. When I think about my conversation with Susan and Nicole of Hoshyla Farms, what stays with me most isn't just the lavender, it's the decision. The moment when selling the land felt easier, and they chose not to. On Long Island, once farmland is gone, it's gone. Hearing Nicole say, once you sell something, you cannot get it back, carried a weight that anyone connected to agriculture truly understands. This wasn't just a business pivot. It was a stand for legacy. What moved me even more was the dynamic of 3 women and an 84-year-old grandfather working side by side to reinvent their family farm. There was honesty in the conversation about fear, about learning curves, about irrigation powered by generators and watering plants from the back of a tractor. It wasn't polished, it was real. And that's what preserving farmland actually looks like. This episode reminded me that agritourism isn't just about events or aesthetics. It's about connection. Connection to land, to family, to community. Hoshyla Farms isn't just growing lavender. They're cultivating continuity. And in a region where blacktop spreads faster than crops, that matters more than ever. This is Jen Ross, your AgriTourist podcast host. Please support us by leaving us a review and/or subscribing to the podcast, and take in my conversation with 2 inspiring women in the business of farming. So how are both of you? Ready for the snow?
Oh God, I know again. I can't. I'm over it. I'm like, I'm done with this.
I know we've gotten our share this year more than we've had in a while. So
Yeah. It's actually better, like as a farmer, it's better because then the plants actually go dormant. Like for the past few years, like our winters and our seasons are shortened, right?
Right.
Like it hasn't been getting that cold, and it kind of wreaks havoc on the plants themselves. So
Yeah, I
they
was
get
going to ask you
confused.
that, if that had an impact.
Yeah,
So,
so the snow is good because it almost like creates a barrier for them, like, so that they get a little insulation, I guess you could say. So,
okay,
yeah.
excellent. So why don't we jump back in history a little bit?
Mhm.
I read through your website. There was a farm in East Meadow at one
Yes.
point. So why don't you
Yes.
take me back to where it started and then bring me to Manorville? And I'd love to understand why, eventually why lavender? Why did you choose lavender? I have to say, I have to admit one thing. I farmed property of Hobbs Farm, not Harbs, Hobbs in Center Reach. They're a all nonprofit farm that donates their food to food pantries. And I took the piece of the property they weren't using and I leased that. And then we had a CSA. So I was doing vegetables and sunflowers. And we never could successfully grow lavender from seed. And look, I didn't put in, because we were so involved in everything else, that I just didn't put in the research probably required. It always failed. And so I need to know some secrets during this call because I'm not good at that. So, okay. So tell East Meadow, it all started.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, in 1922, my family came from Ukraine. And so this is my grandfather's side of the family. So they started a farm in East Meadow. So it was on Front Street. So now it's a like a parking lot. I think there's a bank or something
Yeah.
there.
It's the
But
typical Long Island thing.
yes. But
That's the sad part.
so they
Potato.
came and they did potatoes and cauliflower. And then in 1954, they moved out to Manorville. So that's
Okay.
where the
Mhm.
farm is now. And then they continued to grow potatoes and vegetables. And then eventually, like my great grandfather, got older and we rented out the farm to a local farmer for a while.
Okay.
And now we do lavender. So,
Yeah.
So potatoes and cauliflower. Obviously,
mhm.
Long Island was known for potatoes. Did they just go with that because, that was the thing? Was there a reason they chose potatoes and cauliflower?
No, I really don't. I think it was just something that they grew in. I mean, if we think about our how we have our what we call little Christmas, it's all vegetable based. And I think it was something that they knew when they were in Ukraine. Um, that's what I'm assuming. I think my dad would actually probably be better off. I mean, we could text him and say,
I'd be
"Hey, why are
curious,
potatoes?"
you know,
Yes.
yeah, it's just it's interesting. I'm on my historical society here. I live in Farmingville, and there, we researched a lot of the farmers in the area, and there were I can't think of the names. One of the gentleman who lived here, he had one of the largest white peach farms in Long Island, and he used to be connected to the Department of Agriculture. And so, when we're thinking of agritourism, like his location right here was kind of as far as people would go for something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
It was just really interesting to read about, what people grew back then and why. So that's why I'm curious. I like history, so
I did have a thought on one of why. I thought back to a conversation I recently had with my father, and he said that the potato was considered like how they thought of a potato was a whole food. You do not need to eat anything else but a potato to live. And maybe that's, I'm thinking like if that's what he was taught, maybe that's what it was.
yeah. I mean, potatoes are
So,
very healthy. We make
yeah.
them unhealthy by what we do with them and put on them, but they are a very, very healthy food. So, no, I am always curious, and cauliflower is interesting too, because that is a very, very healthy food as well, because it's so versatile and there's so much you can do with cauliflower. So I was just curious. Okay, so we headed out east to Manorville, and how did we make, like, why lavender? And what was, and it could, I know sometimes, I mean, obviously it's very attractive, both physically and, it just people, to attract people to your venue. But what made you choose lavender? Did someone have a background in it, or did you guys just dive in and research lavender?
No, I think it was more of the fact that we had to come up. You've got to understand when my grandfather retired, he sold everything, all the equipment.
Okay.
So when we decided to do this,
Oh,
we had money. We had to come up with something that was going to be cost effective, where we weren't going to need a lot of equipment. Lavender doesn't like water. I mean, he even sold all those big irrigation pipes and how you
yep.
see in the fields the wheels and stuff. He sold all of his equipment. And because my dad was not a farmer since he was a teenager. I mean, he dabbled and helped my grandfather, but it was not his career.
Right.
And so, Nicole and I sat down, and Nicole, what was your thoughts on why we did this? We actually bounced it around. We started with a different idea first, and as a family, we were trying to come together
Yeah.
as a family and just, okay,
Yeah.
because we didn't want to. My dad was thinking about selling, and then we were panicking because once you sell something, you cannot, you cannot get it back. You know, who's got millions
Especially
of dollars?
land on Long Island.
Yeah.
Yes. So we
So,
all kind of panicked when he said he was, because after the farmer had passed away that was farming our land, then he was like, well, the land is meant to be farmed, and to be used. So it was just laying dormant for so many years. And he was like, well, if you guys aren't going to use it and we're not going to do anything, then I'm going to sell it. So that's when it was kind of like, no, don't sell it. Because, like you said, you can't get that back. And, it's just, I don't know, it's the one place in my whole life that was like very consistent. So I was like, oh God, I don't want that to go away. And it's so beautiful. I don't know if you've ever been there, but
No, I haven't. I haven't been to your farm, but I know, all the farms out east, just they're so charming, it's beautiful. So, what were some of the other things you were contemplating? Because I know I had this conversation with a woman in Maryland, and they had a similar situation where they were like, uh, the grandfather had passed away suddenly, and he was the main farmer, and they had like a nursery, I believe, like business, and they had to pivot completely, and they ended up having a vineyard. It was the area they were in was not known for grapes, but it was just like they did all research and they went to all the agriculture organizations, and grapes were becoming something in the area. So they were like, so they researched everything and they took that on. Obviously, that's a lot bigger equipment and, venture. But point is, they knew they had to pivot and do something that they could do and take on. So I'm just curious, what was some of the thought process around what do we do with this land?
so the first idea, so we had our family meeting and everything. And at the time, New York State was coming through with the cannabis licenses. Like there was talk about like
Yep.
legalizing it and all that. So we did a lot of research going in that direction because we thought it was, something that would be good and viable. But then after doing research, we realized that no, that it costs a lot of money. You'd have to like grow it inside in greenhouses and have lighting and temperature. Like there's a lot of technical
Yeah.
things that go on with cannabis. And then, so that went on for like probably a year or so, like of like researching and trying to figure it out. But then New York State was actually like dragging its feet, and it was like taking so long for them to like come out with the requirements. And then there were all these extensions. So we just kind of figured like we can't like go on like this, not knowing,
Yeah.
and then they were saying that they were going to give licenses to people that, maybe had prior convictions and first and like all of these
Right.
things.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we don't fit into that category. So, I don't know. So then it was just like really more about the money, and like you would just have to have so much knowledge about that to make
It's
it
not
work.
easy to grow.
No.
Even with, I know people who are very knowledgeable and have had to destroy whole crops because of
Yeah.
whatever, the numbers were too high or whatever happened. So it is
Right.
not easy.
So we
yeah.
hired like consultants and stuff too to like
Okay.
help us. And like basically that's what we came to the conclusion that that's not for us. Some of our family members did not want to get involved with it at all. So there were a lot of like split feelings on
Yeah.
it for, all the controversial reasons. So then I was trying to think. So we have a lot of farms around us, right? So a lot of big operational farms. And we were trying to think like, of something different, maybe that they don't grow.
Compliment. Yeah.
Right. Because
Yeah.
we're in such a small area. I mean, you get off the expressway and there's like 4 farms. So it's like
What exit are you off the expressway?
we get off exit 69. So our
Okay.
farm is actually like in between, but that's like the easiest exit
Yep.
to get off at.
Okay.
And then we're like
Yeah.
right around the corner. So we just thought lavender. And then also because it's not that hard to take care of. Well, it is and it's not. But you know,
For
it's
some of
not like
us.
vegetables that you have to like,
Irrigation.
you know, really like, you know, water and like make sure, and there's a lot of like constant like harvesting. Like
Right.
we basically have like 2 times that we're harvesting, you know, and it's pretty regular as far as when it's going to be. So
It's
Wow.
consistent
Yeah.
within a few weeks, because of the weather. It all depends upon the weather, but it's within a few weeks of, the end of May, beginning of into June, all the way into the middle of July. So we have like almost like a 6 to 8 week spread that could be a possibility. So that's
Okay.
why we do our festival the end of July. I mean, the end of June,
June,
excuse
right?
me.
Yes.
end of
So,
June,
Yeah.
yes.
okay. So lavender's perennial or no? Are the plants perennial? They come back?
It comes
Yeah.
back, yes.
That's a big
Yeah.
positive too,
But you have to
because
get the varieties that are good for our zone, you
I was
know,
just
so
going to
not
ask
all of
you.
them will thrive here. Like in Arizona, you know, you have different varieties.
So what you have two varieties, correct? I was reading online. I saw two names, but
I think we have 5 now.
oh, five.
Five
Okay.
now.
Yes. I try
So
to update the website, but it's,
no,
you
no,
know,
that's
how it
okay. No,
is.
no, no, it's okay. So
Yeah.
those varieties, like when you started, how did you you just researched what was good in this area? Are there any other lavender farms that you consulted with locally or in the Northeast?
Well, we actually, what happened was is when we decided to do this, I met a lady in Virginia, and I went to her farm and learned about how to take care of the lavender and cut it and propagate. And then what happens was is she propagates lavender herself in greenhouses. And so she was really a wealth of knowledge to us because she's familiar with the zones and which ones.
Yep.
And she basically recommended we started off with the Munstead because it's English. It's
Okay.
it's sweet. It's you can use it for your teas. You can use it in your baking. It's a beautiful like bouquet. It's small. It stays small. But then we did Provence, and the Provence is huge, and we needed that for like when people come to look at stuff. You want something beautiful and massive, and it
Right.
gets it. What, Nikki? About I think 3 to 5 feet. I think.
Oh,
We
wow.
had to when we planted them. We had to plant at least 3 feet apart because I think they get about 3 feet wide and they get tall and they look beautiful. They look like something you'd see from Europe. And that was our field when it was a lot of thought going into it because being so close to another lavender place in our area, we wanted to go a little different. So we discussed it and we wanted to go with a European feel,
Okay.
not industrial. We planted clover in between our rows. We had a vision. Nicole and I had a vision and we talked about it, right, Nikki? Well, Nicole, Nikki, I call
It's okay. So what was that? Just describe that vision to me.
Like my mom said, like we wanted more of like a European feel, like very like almost like homey, like
organic.
small, because our field is small. So it's not, even though my grandfather's letting us use 11 acres, it takes a long time to get to 11 acres because it's basically, I say, 3 women and a grandpa. Because my aunt, she's the one that works in the field, really, and she does a lot of the harvesting, and she basically is the one that works with all the plants. We all have like kind of like our lane. We overlap and we obviously help each other. And my grandfather works the tractors and things like that. So we
Is your
wanted
aunt
it to
Paula?
be,
Is that Paula?
yes,
Okay,
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. So that's my Aunt Paula.
about
She's
how
like
we get
a
water.
workhorse.
Like,
Well,
tell her how we get water. This is fascinating to me because of, thank God for my father, because I would not have figured out like how to do this. So explain how we get our water right now.
We ran drip lines out, so we had to like dig and dig for the pipes and everything, and we have that hooked up to a hose from the well, but we only have a generator right now that runs it. There's no like pump or electricity
right.
or anything, which is something we're working towards, so it's like baby steps of like
Yep.
getting all of these things. So but sometimes when we go way out into the field, um, we had someone devise this like garbage can thing that we fill with water, and he put like a nozzle on it. So then we run the hose and we put it in the back of either the Kubota or the truck or in the front of the tractor, depending on what we have that day. And we like, one person drives and one person like waters and stuff. So we do that. So it's a lot of like problem solving and trying to figure it out
Yep.
right now. Yeah. And we have lots of buckets everywhere, and we grow zinnias in our pots. Like we have all the wood stumps with pots, and then we grow zinnias like on the ends of each rose just to give a little color and different. So we like, water that with the buckets, and
Yeah.
it's fun.
And the
It's
reason why
interesting.
we, yeah, and the reason why we do this is because the older, plants die off in between the older plants. You lose it for some reason. You don't even know sometimes. And the baby plants need more water than the mature plants. Like we have some plants that are going to be 4 years old. So they don't need as much, they still need water if we have like that drought situation. But if we have a normal season, we don't have to water those ones. We
Okay.
need to water the babies. The babies need to keep, not that you want to have them soaking, but they do need some water to grow,
Okay.
because lavender doesn't like water in general. They would prefer dry,
Is there an
arid.
average lifespan for a plant? Like you said, some are four
Um,
years old. I mean, what, you know,
I
I-
know people who have had their plants for like 12 years or more.
Mhm.
that's great.
It just depends upon your area. Like, if you get a cold snap, you could lose your
Yeah.
plant. I know a lady in New Hampshire that actually takes the time to cover all of her plants. Well, we have 3 acres of plants. It's just, we cannot do that. And right now,
We
like
we
Nicole
could.
said, is the snow is, I mean, we could, but the manpower,
It's
the
like a
snow
natural
kind of,
covering.
Mhm.
yeah, it
Yep.
really does. So
Excellent. Um,
really helps.
so you said you have three more varieties that you've added to the mix. What are those and what are those used for? Because I obviously different types of lavender can be used for different types of things, which that like I don't even know much about that. I just think lavender, you know. So the other varieties that you're growing, what were they suggested by the same woman in Virginia?
Yes, I'll call her and I'll tell her, I want, to be able to, like, when we talked about the Provence, Provence is savory and it's used for, meats. Okay. And it's very good to, have, for that. But then a lot of people like the sweet more than they like the savory. So we ended up with, hip goat next, which is again a sweet, right, Nicole? And then we went to Royal Velvet. So Hitcoat and Royal Velvet is along the same lines as the Mudstead, but the color is more purple. It's a
Ooh,
it's a deeper, beautiful, vibrant color.
that sounds pretty.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, it really is. And right now
And
we don't
some of
let
the
anybody touch those
yeah,
because they're
I know.
they're a couple of years old. And
Some of the
then what?
stems are longer than others too. So depending on like if you want to use it for like a bridal bouquet or
Oh,
so I think, Mom, you just got a new variety, right, for the bouquets.
I think it was Grow Blue, I think was the new
Mhm.
one. And yes, we're leaning towards wanting to get into the bridal arena, so to speak, and maybe have our products as, I don't know, thank yous at the wedding or the 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 shower, whatever, a bridal bouquet, whatever
Okay.
we try to coming up
Because
with.
people like the long stem, which the Provence has, but what happens is the buds fall off easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what they cut at our festival. And it's fine that the buds fall off because then you can put them in those sachets, and put them in your drawer or your car or whatever. Um, but a lot of people like it to stay, like if they make a wreath or something, or they just have it in a vase and it's dried. They don't want all the buds falling off all the
Right.
time. So some varieties are better with that than others. And then obviously the color. So the Provence is like a grayish purple, right? Where
Okay.
some of the other varieties are more like blue violet and like very vibrant.
Are they always in the violet family though? Do you ever have a completely different color in lavender? Even though it's
Yes.
called
Yes, there
lavender. I
Yeah.
just I'm not
yes.
I'm like, oh yeah.
I think it's called Idlewild Edelweiss, Nikki. There is a white lavender. We just don't
Yes.
have it. And I don't know if it's actually for a zone, to be honest with you. I think we
Okay.
cannot have because I don't think it's for ours. I can double check on that one. But yes, which is
I
interesting.
believe there was a pink too, right? Like a pinker, not as
Yeah, more
blue, purple. It's more pink as well.
right.
Excellent.
Yeah,
So
but
And then
I
we
like
use
the purple, like I
yeah.
just want it to be like that. Yeah.
So when you
yeah, we got a
first what was your vision for what you wanted to do with the lavender initially, and then how has that evolved? Obviously, you talked about the weddings and getting into that space. Were you looking at it initially as an agritourism opportunity for people to come and pick and whatever else? Were you making products? I saw a shop online. So just bring me through
Mhm.
that thought process and what you're doing today.
I think
So
that our main focus was to have people come to the farm. So we couldn't do that for the first 3 years because the plants were too small. So we wanted to get them so they were hardier. So if people cut them, which is also a risk, if they cut it the wrong way, they could kill it. So we also risk that by having our festival and letting people cut. I mean, we have signs, we show them, but people literally will pull it out of the ground in front of you.
oh my
Oh,
Yeah,
God, that's last
it's
that
year.
breaks my heart.
yeah, and then you tell them not to do it, and then they question you and they don't understand. They tell you it's fine. So, but it's not.
Do you have a
We're
certain section that you use for the festival versus like
Yeah,
that's what I know a lot of farms do. Like this is the poor you pick section and
yes.
that's the stuff we use for products and
Yes. So
okay.
like my mom was saying, the Munstead and the nicer looking varieties, we save for ourselves. But then the Provence, which we use in our products as well, but there's so much of it because the plants are, 6 feet by 3 feet,
Large,
like they're
yeah.
giant. So we have a lot of it. So we let people cut that, and it's easier because it's bigger. So it's easier for them to visualize what we're saying when we say cut below the first leaf. They can see it. Whereas with the Munstead, it's short because it's
Yeah.
hardy, so it grows slow. That's a little harder. So our goal was to have people come to the farm, which we did. So 2 years ago, we started our festival. We got a really great response from people. The local people were very happy. So that's another one of our goal is to keep our local residents because our farm is in a residential area.
Right.
So we want to keep them happy. We do free for Manorville residents,
Oh, nice.
and they can come to our festival for free. And they've really supported us, and then also our goal was to make products, obviously. And then eventually, so we just put up 2 greenhouses. We have to get them covered still, but we want to start propagating our own lavender, which we haven't been able to do because we didn't have a space to do it.
Okay.
Since we live in the Northeast, it's our season is short. So that will afford us time to propagate and grow our own plants.
Excellent.
And the thing with the products evolved because we needed an income to be able to buy the plants and buy the things without anybody, like, there was no money when we started this. We each kind of like, okay, let me buy this and then we'll be paid back and we'll do this. And we bought my dad the tractor. We didn't even have a tractor. We had to buy a tractor. So
we had a tractor, but he wanted a bigger tractor. We had a little tractor, but he wanted a big tractor. So he wants a lot of things.
I thought he wanted to sell the farm.
Yeah. He secretly loves it, okay?
I was going to say
him, which would be interesting, but he's okay with the technology, but he will complain like all the time, but at the end of the day, he loves it. Like, why'd you go out there when it was 90 degrees? Oh, and then he wouldn't have it.
Or you say to him, oh, what are you mowing between the rows? I'll do it. I'm coming. What are you doing? And the next thing she gets out there and he's done it. And
did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll complain like, you gotta come mow. And then I'll go to mow and he's like, oh, I did it yesterday. I'm like, Grandpa, like, this is why I'm here. I'm gonna mow. He's like, it's all right. You got a lot of other things to do.
It's it's a little game. You kind of just have to, but I think that's great. I think, there's nothing better than him being out there and being energized by this amazing farm. There's nothing better. That's amazing. Yes, it does.
When you meet him, if you come out, you meet him, you're not even going to realize that he's going to be 84 in March. I mean, it's like he doesn't even act like it. He acts like somebody is in like his early 70s.
So what did you both do before this? And are you still involved in whatever you were doing?
Yes, I am a high school art teacher. I still do that. Yes. I'm kind of contemplating like, oh, geez, I don't know. This is getting a lot. Which
do you
is good.
Integrate art into the farm?
Yes. So that's a good question.
There's a lot. I've interviewed a lot of art and ag programs, and that's something we do not have really on Long Island. There's these art and ag tours that exist in other states. So it's something that you might want to initiate.
I think Mike was telling us about that actually.
Yes, because the reason why he is because the gentleman that I initially interviewed from Clemson was in South Carolina. He initiated this ag and art tour. And now, because Mike's a veteran, he's connected with a veteran farm who's launching an ag and art tour for veteran farmers only. But they're working with the guy from Clemson to kind of work together on it. So there's all the connections there. But I love the integration of art and agriculture. I think it's just such a great synergy and people love it.
Yes. So for our festival, we really try to get vendors that are artists and crafters. Like we really try to hone in on that. And every year I feel like we make our selection better and better. So that's one way we incorporated it. We're also going to be doing workshops this year for the first time. So we're going to be making swags and lavender wreaths. We're going to have plein
Love
air
it.
classes. So I have an artist that I know that she's interested in coming out to the farm and teaching a plein air class because that's the type of painter she
Yep.
is. Um, and then just kind of incorporating like other art events onto the farm. Like eventually, as we go, we're
Yep.
like adding more and more. We also have a shell painting and a rock painting station for the kids
Nice.
because our event is not really geared towards kids. You know, we don't have a playground or bouncy houses and stuff, but we want to have a little bit. So we have a
Yeah.
shell and rock painting, and they can opt to leave their shell or rock, and then we spray them and we put them in the fields, like amongst the lavender.
I love
So our
that.
goal, yeah, our
That's
goal is
better
to
than the
like,
bouncy house.
yeah,
We
I
don't
agree.
need we
It's
don't
free.
need more bouncy houses.
That's what I
Like,
said. We're never having a bouncy house on our farm. We're never having a playground. Like, I'm not doing that.
it's not what
Um,
it is. Like you said, you're trying to create
right.
this European feel, and you can integrate kids in different ways. You've come up with some very unique ways that adds to the farm.
But the
Yes.
thing is with it's free. And this year we had my granddaughter, who's 11, she ran the little, it's a tent. So the kids are
Yeah.
covered, they're not out in the sun. And it's like kids helping kids, but this is eventually going to be her farm. Her and my grandson. My grandson's only 7. He tries, but he goes off on his merry way.
Yeah.
But they're there and they love it. And even my nephew's son Tristan just recently, didn't he ask you, Nicole, to say like, can I come and work the festival? And he's 13 now or 12.
Hmm.
I think he's
It's
12.
very tall. I don't know.
I know. Yeah.
It's
So
great.
he's
I
6 foot.
So it's a
it's
He's
whole
such a
family
great
affair.
It is, and I think it's
Yeah.
terrific. My girls, I mean, now, the youngest is in college, but they were I mean, I remember when she was 3 or 4 and at the farm, and they were out in the fields and they were,
yeah.
they work in the CSA, they were connecting with my customers,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it's such an amazing education. And then just to be out in nature and just absorbing it
Right.
all. So it's the best thing you can give them. It's the greatest gift. Get them
I
off
was
the
gonna say, get
phones.
away from screens
Yes.
that everybody's in front of nowadays,
Yep.
It's just, yeah, it's nice to be out in nature, and it's not like you're making them do anything. They're enjoying it. It's not like
Yep.
you're like, oh, this is part, you have to work it, you have to do this. No, they want to do it.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's wonderful. But it's a great, thing. But we are working on a lot of different events this year, and even like we're partnering with Mike to do a wine and cheese
I was
event
just going to
with him.
ask you, how did you connect with
Yeah.
Mike?
Oh, we met
Oh,
him at a agritourism conference in Saratoga.
yeah.
So, I think he was the only other person from Long Island, right?
Well,
So,
I have to tell you this. I was sitting in, and I had my Hoshyla Farm sweatshirt. So if you go online, you can see like the t-shirts and stuff. So
Okay.
he must have been sitting behind. I got up to go out in the hall for a few minutes, and he was out there, and he's like, "Oh, I wanted to meet you." And I'm looking at him like, "Okay." And he's got a suit on and everything. And here I've got
Yeah.
Nicole, Mom, you wear your sweatshirt. Now, I'm not a sweatshirt and a t-shirt person. So, or with logos, but I wore my sweatshirt, and he's like, I gotta meet you. And that's when he told me he was from Long Island. He says, I know where you are. I have a place over in Manorville. I used to live in Manorville.
Yep.
And most people don't even know where Manorville is.
I know. Yeah. So it's just like a small world. And
Yeah.
then he like told us his
Yes.
story. Yeah. And then we just like hit it off. So then we talked about, collaborating, and then I listened to the podcast about the oyster thing because he talks about it, but like not like that. I was like, whoa.
Yes. And I actually went, I have a friend, Waldo Cabrera, who does video production. And we went and videotaped the whole trip out to the actual farm.
Wow.
And all, like I told you in the email, all I could think about was him out here in January. Like, I'm like I love the water, but I could never do that. I was like, it was really cool though. It is such an interesting experience. And we were speaking about agritourism opportunities out there because what a cool experience, you know. But yeah. I just think about now and I get a little, but
I
yeah, that's
know.
so you're looking to collaborate with him on an event.
Yeah, so
We
we thought wine and cheese and then the oysters. And then my mom is she can tell a little bit about her story and what she did before, but she hand paints glass. So we thought doing a
Oh,
wine glass painting class, that people can opt in if they
I
want to do
I'm
it.
in.
Yeah. So you can
That
you
talk
want me
about
to
sounds
your
great.
background.
show you? I
What
could
was
get a sample in the other room.
yeah, I want to see it. I definitely want to see
Oh,
it.
well,
Oh my God, that
I'll
is
be right back.
so cool. Yes, please.
She does a lot of different designs. She's been doing this. So she was a stay-at-home mom, so she did crafts. So she sews, she's a quilter, and
Oh
she does the
wow. So there
hand-painted
you go.
glass.
You guys are all
She's great.
artists.
Yeah, she makes most of our products. I try to help her with some of them, but she's yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. And you going to use a local vineyard, I presume?
Yes. So for our festival, we used, I forget what they're called. They're in Riverhead. I think it was like RG something. My cousin knows the people that work
Okay.
there or the owner. So we collabed with them for the festival.
Okay.
So we may use them again. We're also looking into possibly like a wine truck because they have those like
Okay. Oh
cute
yes.
European looking wine
Yeah,
trucks. So we thought
very
that might be
nice.
fun.
I
So
like that
yeah,
idea.
yeah,
Excellent. That's
we'll
really,
see.
really cool. Any other events that you guys are thinking about for this
We're thinking
coming?
about a country night, so we're going to do that possibly with line dancing. It's not necessarily my thing, but people like
Oh,
it.
people
So
love it. People
yes,
love it.
so we're going to try
Anything
that.
to get out and do different things. It's fun, it
Yeah,
just, people need to laugh more. And
I know.
when you're on a farm doing that,
Yes.
it just makes it feel, so much better. And
Yeah.
absolutely.
I just brought a sample of like patterns. Like this is a wine glass that has the daffodil design on it, and it's
Those are
got a little
beautiful.
ladybug.
I see the ladybug. I love the ladybug.
I'm a very light touch. I don't have a sample. Nicole's got all the lavender design. Then this is a sample of the iris with the
Oh, those are
ladybug.
beautiful. They're
Thank you.
beautiful. Oh man.
And then I haven't decided what pattern other than iris. This is my first design I ever did. It's called Wild Rose.
Oh,
It's got violets and what I deem my wild
that's
rose. So I have
beautiful.
other patterns. I never put anything online. My work is sold by word of mouth or shows.
I was telling her that you do quilting too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do.
That's
I
great.
don't. Yeah, I've got. Yes, I have a lot. So
So yeah,
I
I love the art focus.
Hmm.
It's such a great extension of the farm. So
yeah
absolutely.
we try.
So okay, so we have so some of the products that you're creating, like do you have a shop there? Like when if you come there, like what is physically on the farm outside of the lavender plants?
So our goal is to get a shop. We don't have one right now. So it's literally a field of lavender. And we put up the two greenhouses. So we have those now. But that's pretty much it.
Okay.
So we're working towards
We
a
do it.
building. What we do is when we're open to the public, we put up a tent and then we have our little
Yep.
shop in the tent. And then we get bathrooms and everything for people. But pretty much it's a field. So unless the lavender is blooming, which is why we're expanding and doing some other events as well, because people do want to come to the farm, but they don't understand that it's literally a field. Like I really tell them, I'm like, yeah, but it's literally like a field. There's nothing to really do. I mean, you could walk around, but unless the lavender's blooming and it's
Right.
so beautiful and pretty, it's I don't know, but they don't understand that because there's so many farms that are very built up now. So there's
Right.
like a lot of activities, and we're not really there yet. We've only been doing this is our 5th year, I think. So with the lavender, so I think we've come a long way from where we were,
Oh, absolutely.
but we still have a ways to go to where we want it. But every
Yeah.
year we expand and we get, new things. Last year I got an artist to paint like those photo things where the kids can put their faces, or the adults
Yep.
like it too.
Yeah.
And
The
it
adults
was,
like it too.
yes, we have bees on our property. So
Oh,
I
nice.
had the
Okay.
artist do Hoshyla Farms honey. And then it was
Nice.
a beekeeper with the bees and everything. So that was
I like it.
cute. And then she also
Yeah.
did like lavender bunches and bouquets. So we put those up this year as like an interactive. So
Excellent.
that was
Well,
fun.
but we also talked about because we're having other events, and one of the events in December, I know Nicole doesn't want to talk about that far ahead, but we're going to we're going to call it Santa on a bike, or Santa and a bike, because my dad's a retired motorcycle policeman. Plus he has a lot of motorcycles, and there's a lot of people in town that ride motorcycles.
Right.
So she was thinking about getting some of those cutouts for the winter. Like if we're doing this the first weekend of December, we're trying to think of ideas like doing s'mores and doing, you could take photos with Santa on the motorcycle, have a motorcycle. My father's got so many motorcycles, have them dress up, or somebody dress up, or even a local guy up. But we're trying
That's great.
to think outside the
Yeah.
box to, maybe have the Cub Scouts come and sell their wreaths. I think they still do that.
You'll find the
So
things that work for you and
Yes.
that
yeah.
work for the business, that are,
Mhm.
most profitable for the business versus the effort involved. So that,
Yes.
it's a learning, you're going to learn. You are learning. You've done tremendous. So just to kind of bring us full circle, each of you, can you tell me what is kind of the biggest learning over the last few years that personally, that something that you learned? It could be anything. And what is the thing you're most proud of over the last few years?
I'm the person who makes the products. Well, I never dreamed that I would be making soap and cream and linen spray and bug spray and or whatever. All these products that you see online is what I do. And that was not my dream. That was not my intention of like doing this. And it takes up a lot of time. And I guess I'm pretty proud of the fact that I'm doing it. When you have to do what you have to do for your family. And sometimes Nicole knows, I'll complain. I'm like, because I do the Dutchess County Fair with my own stuff, with the glass. I don't know if you've ever
Okay.
been up to the fair.
No, I haven't.
It's worth a ride.
Okay.
It's absolutely, it's the oldest county fair in the country.
Okay.
So I have a 20 by 10 booth there with all my fabric and all my glass and stuff. And last year I was like, I was not ready. I was not ready because I was like, I was doing so much for the farm, and a lot of it was a learning curve because I had never made
Right.
things like this. So
Yeah, well, each product is its own thing, and you have to learn. I know a friend of mine does similar stuff in Pennsylvania, and there's a lot involved. I
yes.
give you a lot of
So this
credit.
year, yes. So this year, in between everything else, when I was making stuff, I've already started hand painting my glass, getting ready for the county fair. But I used to do 40 shows a year. Now I'm doing one, and I wasn't ready. But right now, until we get off the ground and things are running smoothly and I can get ahead, and a lot of it was because we did not have I guess a steady income with the farm that we could buy in bulk, so I could make, like 300 bars of soap at once, or, if I'm on a
Right.
roll, I can make it all at once and be like 6 months out.
Yep.
So I think here it'll be a little easier, because when you're in that zone of making like the one product, if and I know this from doing my glass or doing my quilting or making a t-shirt quilt, a memory quilt for somebody. If I do a few, I did two for one man. You're in that zone, and things are easier.
Yep.
So I feel pretty proud that I've gotten that that far. I never dreamed I'd be doing this. So
Before we pass it on to Nicole, I actually have one more question for you. What when
sure.
you look at your daughter, what have you learned about her? Like what surprised you about what she's done in the past few years? Because obviously working
Well,
with her in this capacity is probably different.
yes. Well, she's always worked for me when I do art and craft shows. So we've always been hand in hand, and we do have a good relationship with a give and take, and
That's
we've
good.
always worked together. We have a smooth working relationship already. But I think what I'm most proud of, and what she hates the most, is the financial end of it. But she is the one who runs the LLC. She's the one who handles the books, and I'm good at that stuff, but I don't live like all her. Where she lives is the billing address. So all the things come to her. So I don't live close enough to be able to
Right.
handle all that for her. So I'm really proud that she's on top of it, and she's diligent. No matter how much she complains, she does it. And she, there's always things that you hate when you're doing stuff, but you do it anyway, because you love your family, and she knows, like she said, this is her constant in her life, is this farm since they
Yep.
were little. We didn't even talk about my dad when she was little, and this is a tradition even now, is he cut trails in the woods, and they used to have an Easter egg hunt every year. I mean,
Oh,
we still do when the little ones are there, and we would hide the plastic eggs all through the trails in the
I
woods
love
at the
that.
farm. And I don't know
Yeah.
It's
how many,
great.
gotta be a couple or more, right?
Yeah.
So
So Nicole, what have you learned and what are you most proud of for yourself and then for your mom?
I think I'm most proud that we're keeping the land in our family. And my grandfather is happy.
And
That's
riding his tractor and
yeah.
yeah, it's important that, he's happy and he's proud of us. And he said that once, so that was good. Um, but
Yeah.
I think I've learned that I don't know. It's hard. I've learned a lot. I've learned to work with different kinds of people, I guess being a teacher, you're kind of good at that anyway because of all the different types of students you get, especially in art, because they don't always love it. So
Yep.
it's just a requirement sometimes. But I'm just proud of like where we've come. I feel like
Yep.
our growth has been so great, and
Yep.
I'm happy that the community is supporting us. And I think that I'm learning to be more flexible. I mean, that's something that I'm learning in my age, like over the years, not just with the farming. But like I'm kind of a rigid type A kind of person, which is also conducive to being a teacher, but not so much like, when you're working with others in your family,
Yeah.
you want to hear everybody, and I try my best. It's something I still have to work at, but it's hard when you're in control and everybody's looking at you and you have to make those tough decisions that, no, we can't do this. No, like we can only grow slow because that's what's going to make it work. When, yes, we want to do all these things, but we can't. So I think saying no is really difficult. People don't want to hear that. Even this year with the expansion of all these events, I'm freaking out. I think it's a lot. I think we should have went slower, but I was overruled on that. But like, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I have faith and it'll be good and we'll learn a lot from this year.
Yep, you will. You definitely
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
I think that comes from also we're doing a lot of the work ourselves. We used to we just hired a marketing person to help us. So, but we're doing the promotional work ourselves now. So, which is a
Yeah.
bit a weight that we did, we were hands-on for the first two festivals. We were very hands-on, but when it's all on you, it's like scary.
It's a lot.
It is scary. And it's your name and your family. So
Yep.
I feel like it's different. Like, obviously, when you own your own business, it's like that. But feels different because it's a farm, because it's like you're literally in the dirt. And I feel like the same thing applies to art, like being an artist, right?
Right.
Like, people look at it and they say, oh, I can do that. Or, they make comments like that. So I feel like there is an appreciation for agriculture, like, especially now, like, people are going more in that direction, right? Like, all natural but there's still like not a huge understanding of like all the time and the work that goes into it,
Yeah.
like, people think they know, but until you actually do it,
Yeah.
it's a little, there's a little disconnect. But I think by doing the agritourism, like, that's what
Yes.
kind of
Every
makes
little bit.
people aware of it,
Yes.
what goes into it. It's not just about growing a flower
Yes.
or an herb,
Yep. Yeah, every little bit. And I know it's hard because, people come for different reasons, but
Yes.
I think even if you get through to some people, it's just,
Yes.
it just keeps happening. And I'm very grateful that you both and your family have been able to retain this farm and that you pivoted. It's a great story. And it's so good to hear because so many farms are leaving us for many reasons. Obviously people need to survive sometimes, and I get it, but it's just we can't preserve quick enough. So, especially on Long Island, it's just really nice that this is a really good story because it's hard. It's hard. There's a lot of blacktop going down and a lot of residences and commercial properties. There's nothing by me. And I've tried to preserve some land, but I was overruled constantly. I'm happy you guys have done this and are doing this, and I'm excited to come out and see it in full bloom.
Yes.
Hey,
We're excited. Anytime, even if you want a private tour, let us know.
Well, I will. Thank you.
My
I love
grandfather
private
loves to
tours.
tour people around. So.
Absolutely. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you both.
Thank you.
We will hopefully talk soon.
Okay.
All right. Have a good night, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I hope our AgriTourist podcast prompts you to think more about where your food comes from, whether it be your vegetables, fruits, meats, and even those sweet treats. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with someone you think may truly benefit from or be inspired by it. Visit us at agra-tourist.com. Until next time.